The story begins with a young boy, Magu, who hunts a boar by aiming perfectly from afar with the help of a friend gifted with detection talent. After a successful hunt, his friends start congratulating him for his impeccable hunting, which makes him shy, but happy to be useful, even though he hasn't received his skill yet. In his world, everyone receives a skill from God after reaching adulthood, and this skill can be of any type. Some skills greatly improve sword handling or grant medical abilities, while others can make someone a master of cooking. However, there are also secondary skills that can bring disadvantages and even be considered a curse for someone. Magu's friends ask him which skill they want to acquire. One of them wants them to join their party to earn a lot of money, while the other wants them to join his father's group of vigilantes to help the citizens. But Magu wanted to decide all this after receiving his skill. He tells his friends that he wishes to acquire a skill that can benefit the city. One of his friends replies that he should be a little more greedy and think about his own advantages. However, his other friend reminds him that he wants to become like his parents, who sacrificed themselves to protect the city from a giant mutant lizard. His parents were part of the two most renowned vigilante groups in the city. They were cool, kind, and loved by all the city's inhabitants. One day, a giant mutant lizard attacked the city and Magu's parents confronted it. Their priority was to protect the city, and they accomplished their mission by killing the lizard. However, they had to sacrifice their lives for it. Their only wish for Magu was to live a happy life. Since then, the whole city has taken care of Magu, making sure he never feels the absence of his parents. He grew up with their help and support and now wishes to repay them by acquiring good skills. Today was the coming of age ceremony, and he was both excited and nervous to know that he would be endowed with a skill. He went to the church with much hope, unaware that he would receive a mediocre skill. His skill is one that attracts monsters day and night, considered one of the worst skills. In disbelief, he wished for another skill, but the skills were predetermined and couldn't be changed, making him feel like he was condemned to death. He is truly upset and not ready to accept his fate. He turns to the pastor hopefully, but he can only express sympathy as he cannot interfere with God's plan. Losing all hope, Magux left the church, wondering what he should do next. He wanted to live for the city, but all his plans failed after receiving this skill. On the way back, he was shocked to see a large crowd standing outside his house, packing his belongings. Some were discussing how he had received a secondary skill, while others were placing his belongings on a cart. When he asked why they were doing this, they told him to leave the city to save their lives and live in a hunting cabin in the mountains. Magu wasn't ready to believe it, but an old man appeared before him and explained that he now represented a threat to the citizens because of his talent. His talent attracts monsters, putting the city in danger. Everyone was angry and wanted him to leave. Some shouted that he might cause a new lizardman attack, while others said they no longer needed him. No one remembered that his parents had lost their lives saving the city. They only cared about their own lives. Magu accepted his fate and decided to leave the city, heading towards the mountains with his cart full of luggage. He wonders what he did wrong to deserve such a fate. He had always wished for the city's well-being. So why was he punished like this? Suddenly, a large dark kobold appeared before him, and his skills began to attract monsters. The dark kobolds were multiplying, and Magu ran as fast as he could towards the mountains, followed by numerous dark kobolds. He could only think of his parents and their desire to see him live and protect the city. The kobolds attacked him, and he fought back, but their large number overwhelmed him, weakening and distracting him. The kobolds kept striking him one by one, and he grew weaker and weaker. As a group of dark kobolds beat Magux and he lost all his strength, he heard a beautiful voice. This voice offered him help. Magux turned to it, and to his great surprise, a beautiful girl stood before him. Magux was shocked. He asked the girl what she was doing in such a dangerous place. He wanted to help her. Meanwhile, a kobold punched Magux so hard that he flew and fell to the ground. Magux tried to get up. To his great surprise, the girl was still standing. He thought that if he didn't help her leave this place, she would also be in trouble. Magux was truly shocked when the girl asked him to escape. The girl created a big ball of light in her hand and attacked the kobold with it. The kobold fell far away from the attack. Magux wondered how this little girl could be so strong. What was she doing? Was she using magic? The girl turned to Magux to tell him that she was okay. The kobold tried to attack Magux again, making the girl angry. She began to think that she wouldn't let these kobolds harm Magux anymore. She created a big thunderclap, and all the kobolds fell far away and died. Magux also fell far away and got hurt. The girl worried and ran towards Magux. He was seriously injured and not in his right mind. The girl put Magux's head on her lap. She was sorry for hurting him. When Magux regained consciousness, he asked who bent his knees. He saw the girl and got up. He told her that he could attack her kobolds, but he was covered in scratches. He was sorry for being hurt and not being able to help her properly. But to his great surprise, there were no more kobolds for him to attack. He wondered where all the kobolds had gone. The girl pointed to the kobolds, saying that she had sent them all to the void. It was a shocking moment for Magux. He couldn't believe his eyes. How come they were all dead? How could this little girl do that? Was she a magician? In this world, some people have strange powers, and they are called mages. But to become a mage, one must have special skills. Magux looked at the girl with amazement. He thought she was too young to possess such power, but her actions led him to wonder if she was really so young or if she was older. Suddenly, the girl broke the silence by shouting that she didn't use magic. Magux replied that's how she could kill so many kobolds on her own. The girl asked Magux to move a little, then she got up, satisfaction showing on her face. She was sure that Magux was not a dangerous person and that she didn't need to hide her true identity from him. She told Magux that she would share a special secret with him and show him who she really was. Suddenly, she disappeared in a big ray of light. Magux worried about what was happening. How did this big ray of light appear? How was her body changing shape? What was this crazy power? The girl's voice appeared, asking him what he thought of her. When the ray of light disappeared, there was a dragon standing in front of him. Magux was amazed. "A dragon," he cried. Then he petted her because he was surprised that the girl was a dragon. According to Magux, the girl looked like a divine beast from a fairy tale. This kind of beast appeared in tales and legends. They were monsters capable of speaking human language but possessed powers similar to those of a dragon. The dragon transformed back into the girl and asked Magux to call her Loa instead of dragon or divine beast. Magux also introduced himself to her. Magux wanted to get closer to her, but he said he was too old for that. Hearing this, Loa asked him in surprise why he called himself old. Magux replied that it was because of his ability to attract monsters. So Magux didn't want to put Loa in danger by staying close to her. Loa felt frustrated and asked Magux why he thought a dragon could be afraid of his little monsters. He asked Loa to leave because he didn't want to cause her any more trouble. He was very touched by her help, but Loa refused to leave. She told him that she was so attracted to his voice that she didn't want to leave him right away. Magux asked with confusion why she was attracted to his voice. Loa replied that he was determined to live and never die. She could hear his voice because of his skills. That's why she flew to him. She said he wouldn't understand what she was saying. But Magux apologized because he thought he could only attract demons. He didn't know he could attract other beasts. Loa explained to him that the skill he called Hour is actually known as Caller Among Dragons. According to Loa, it is also called the Caller Among Other Beings. Loa asked him if he had the ability to call demons outside of the rest of the world, which made Magux think about his skill. Loa said that this skill can be used to call divine beasts, and that it can make men and beasts thrive together. Magux wondered how he could think that all this was just a fairy tale. But Loa also worried that if she could hear his thoughts from afar, then other beasts could also hear them. She wondered what other kinds of beasts had heard his thoughts. Magux began to wonder how the kobolds reacted when he thought about saving the city. Magux eventually realized that the hour is the result of the ability to transmit his thoughts to a beast. But it was also strange and uncomfortable for him that his thoughts were no longer private. He began to think that other people with the hour skill had also been saved by a divine beast. If so, why are people still talking about the short lifespan of people with an hour skill? Loa said that people who have the hour skill also have a twisted mind. They demand many things, and dragons do not help these bad people. But according to Loa, Magux was different. He wanted to live fully. That's why Loa was interested in him and wanted to know him more. She didn't want to become the target of a person with a black heart. Magux told her that he wanted to repay the citizens, but he was punished when he was given an hour. He also wanted to die because of it. Magux asked Loa if it was possible for him to be useful to someone again. Loa replied enthusiastically that yes, he could. Magux got up and told Loa that he was grateful for her encouragement. But could she lend him her powers? Loa accepted and hugged Magux. She told him that she would take care of him. Magux was very grateful to her. Loa hugged him so tightly that Magux fell to the ground. Loa apologized. Magux now wanted to rest, and the hunt was imminent. He packed his belongings and began his new life with Loa. The next morning, as Magux slept deeply, someone burst open the door. It was another girl. She told Magux not to worry about anything because she would take care of him from now on. Magux was surprised and puzzled by the sudden appearance of the girl. He asked, "Who are you?" The girl introduced herself as Fiona, the Phoenix, explaining that she had felt the power of her master's words and had crossed the sea to join him. Magux couldn't believe she could cross the sea in just one night. He also couldn't understand how a phoenix had appeared before him. He then realized that it was the result of his skill. Fiona was frustrated by his cold reaction because she expected him to be more surprised at her arrival. But Magux told her he experienced the same thing yesterday. Fiona was angry with him. Suddenly, Loa woke up on the other side of Magux's bed, rubbing her eyes and wondering who Magux was talking to so early in the morning. Magux asked her why she wasn't sleeping in another room. When Loa regained her senses, she spotted a feather on the bed. Then she looked at Fiona and realized she was a phoenix. She let out a phoenix's angry cry. Fiona also got angry and asked what a dragon was doing there. Magux tried to calm them down, but he told them that dragons and phoenixes don't get along and have been fighting for supremacy in the sky for thousands of years. Their anger created thunder, causing a wall of the house to collapse. Magux angrily asked them to stop. After ending their quarrel, he covered the broken wall with wooden planks. He scolded them, telling them that he was about to lose another house because of them. Fiona and Loa apologized. When Magux realized he was calling himself master, he asked them to call him by his name. But Fiona told him she couldn't do that because if there's a caller who can read a beast's mind and blood, which is necessary for a beast to help him in times of need, they cannot call them by their name. Fiona told him he had a good heart and that she was ready to help him anytime. Hearing this, Loa felt jealous. Magux told them both that he was happy that both beasts were near him. He didn't want to burden them, but he knew he needed their help. He asked them to get along because the three of them were going to live together. Loa, with a big heart, agreed without further thought. Fiona also didn't want to back down. Both promised to get along. Magux thanked them both and suggested that they should now go to the dining table for breakfast. While eating, Magux told them that they had enough food for a few days, but then they should have a proper source from which they can get food to survive in the forest. He told them that there's an area where they can get wild vegetables and water. It wasn't very convenient for them, but securing a field and a well is the only solution. So after breakfast, they decided to go in search of potable water. Magux was really excited, but when he pulled the cart, he realized he wasn't strong enough because of his injuries. When Fiona and Loa saw him struggling, they rushed to him and offered their help. But Magux refused, saying that at least they could handle this because if a demon appeared, they would both have to defeat it. Fiona looked at him with a sad face and told him that she's here to help. But Magux convinced them both that pulling the cart is good rehab. Both Fiona and Loa wondered why Magux stayed here alone and didn't return to his hometown. Fiona refrained from joining them because she didn't want to extinguish her flames, but Loa splashed water on herself and played in it. This led to a brief argument between Fiona and Loa, which Magux intervened to stop. Fiona noticed that Magux was becoming shy because his clothes were a bit exposed after getting wet. She teased Magux, but Loa was jealous. Finally, both of them helped Magux fill the water skins and collect vegetables and medicinal herbs, for which Magux was very grateful. However, Fiona noticed something approaching from the woods and warned her master to be cautious. They were all curious about what would emerge from the woods. Magux wasn't mentally ready to face more demons because a lot had happened the previous day, and it was too soon for him. Fiona asked Magux to step back and ordered Loa to stay close to him. But as Magux expected, a new demon appeared before him. It was giant and had large teeth. Magux exclaimed in shock that it was a human-eating troll. Magux was upset and realized that the monster appeared because of his skill. He blamed himself for putting Loa and Fiona in danger. Fiona attacked the troll but couldn't help much because she was covered in water. The troll then attacked her, but Fiona transformed into a phoenix and attacked the troll again. She started with a feather attack. When the troll was busy stopping it, she began throwing fireballs at him. The troll was burned and died. Magux thanked Fiona for saving him, but a large group of trolls appeared again. They fought them fiercely and decided to run as fast as possible back to their house. On the way back home, different types of demons tried to kill them, but with the help of Loa and Fiona, they managed to return home safely with the food and water they had collected. After arriving home, Magux realized that every time they took the road, it was a disaster. He decided that before they put their lives back in order, they had to do something about all the demons. Loa suggested to Magux that she could get rid of all the demons for him. Magux asked her if it was possible to get rid of them completely, to which Loa replied that it was impossible to eliminate them completely, but she could at least try. All she had to do was fly near the mountains. Fia asked her if she was really ready to leave her old territory to fight the demons. Magux realized that once a dragon establishes a territory, it stays there for the rest of its life. Magux never wanted to use them for his benefit, so he rejected this idea from Loa. but she told Magux that one day, dragons must live on their own. She was willing to establish a new territory in those mountains. She assured Magux that she was doing well since she arrived there. Establishing territory on the mountain doesn't mean she can't go elsewhere. Magux was so touched by her words that Loa asked him to treat her like a grown-up. Later, Magux prepared dinner for them. They both enjoyed the dinner very much because it was the first time they had a cooked meal. Magux was satisfied that there was enough water in the house for now, but their priority now was to cultivate a field. Loa and Fiona suggested bringing vegetables from the mountain, but Magux wasn't ready to take any risks. Plus, he always wanted to have a big farm. He had seeds of a few vegetables. Loa asked him if he knew about farming. Magux replied that he had helped his friend's farm, but Fiona said there wasn't enough water for it. Magux wondered if it was possible to build waterways. He teased Fiona, saying that usually canals develop by themselves, to which Fiona responded with amusing expressions. But Fiona said he had plenty of time to think about all that, and they were ready to help him in this mission. He wanted Magux to live his life as he wished. Loa then flew off to hunt demons, and Magux asked Fiona to help him plow the field. Fiona took out a power sword and handed it to Magux. She told him he could protect his life by using this sword. Magux was grateful and embarrassed because he was just receiving help from both of them. Fiona hugged him and said he could risk their lives for him. But when Loa came back and saw Fiona hugging Magux, she got angry and attacked her. Fiona fought back, and they both started fighting. Magux watched them and thought that he somehow had to be useful to them too. The next morning, when Magux woke up, he was shocked because there was a well in front of his house. Magux wondered how a well could appear in front of the house. There was nothing here until yesterday. Is the water potable? While he was pondering all of this, a beautiful young girl appeared behind the well and asked Magux if he was the caller he had summoned. Magux's skills began to falter instantly, and he wondered who this girl was. The girl introduced herself as Mayra, a low spirit. Magux wondered if he had already gotten used to it. He also introduced himself and asked Mayra if she was also a divine beast. She answered yes, and told him that she was from the Kelpie tribe. Kelpies are a particular type of sacred horses that reign over the waters, mastering even large waves such as rivers and inland waters. Magux again thought that this kind of beast is usually found in fairy tales. He asked Mayra why she was there, to which she replied that they have an ancient rule whereby they must lend a hand to callers who need help finding water. She was worried because she had been told that her caller needed water. Magux again wondered how this was possible. But then he apologized. Mayra told him not to apologize and that she was happy to see him delighted because she had really worked hard for this well. Magux thanked her for that. He asked Mayra how it was possible for her to prepare a well with potable water in one night. She replied that it wasn't a big problem for her because she only had to manipulate groundwater. Suddenly, Fiona appeared and angrily asked what a Kelpie was doing here. Loa was hiding behind Fiona, but she was glad to see a Kelpie. It was also interesting for Mayra to meet a dragon and a phoenix together. Loa expressed her joy by greeting Mayra, but Fiona. She was so angry that their rivals were there to help Magux. She also yelled at Magux, asking him why he was attracting his enemies to him. Magux calmed her down and prepared breakfast for everyone. For Mayra, it was a good experience because she had never had a human meal before. Loa told her that he was now going to cultivate a garden where he could grow different kinds of vegetables. Loa started sowing the seeds, but Magux was tense because it wasn't the right time to sow. Fiona warned her that if she spoiled the seeds that their master brought her, she would be condemned. But Loa performed magic, and it only took a few minutes for the vegetables and plants to grow completely. They were all shocked to see how Loa had done it all by herself. She told Magux that her grandfather was an earth dragon who controlled the power of the earth. They are essentially the reincarnation of the earth. So, Loa inherited this power from him. Loa then asked everyone to try the fruits from the trees. The fruits were so delicious that they couldn't stop eating them, especially Fiona. Loa thanked Mayra for all of this, which surprised Mayra. Loa told them that she can only use this power when there is plenty of water available. So everything was possible thanks to the well that Mayra had created. Mayra was happy because she had been helpful to them. Loa suggested that she should grow more plants using her power and asked Magux and Fiona to plow the rest of the field. As Mayra watered the plants with her power, she accidentally created a warm water pond. But for Magux, it was a good surprise. Magux asked Mara to enlarge this pond and surround it with stone. At the end of the day, Loa and Fiona were so tired that they fell asleep immediately after dinner. Mayra was curious about the pond, so she worked on it. Magux asked Mayra to check if she was okay. Mayra asked Magux if she could stay with them for a while. As for the Kelpies, it is difficult to control their power, and it will take time to develop canals and waterways. Plus, it is tradition among Kelpies for the young ones to leave their hometown to train and gain experience. This mountain had plenty of water for her training. Magux replied that she could stay as long as she wished. He was happy to have such good friends, but someone was watching both of them from the trunk of a tree and wondering how Magux was still alive. In the village, some people at the Vigilance Corps office were discussing that they had seen very few demons since Magux left the village. They must have followed him to the mountain. The second man replied that yes, that was the reality. Soon, the girl who had been listening to Mara and Magux's conversation from the tree trunk arrived at the office and told her father that Magux was alive. It was the same girl who wanted Magux to join her father as a member of the Vigilance Corps before he received the hour skill. Furthermore, he does not live alone there. Divine beasts like dragons also live with him. The second man responded matter-of-factly that Magux is now a threat to them all, and if he angers the dragon with a stupid mistake and then runs back to town, it can cause a lot of damage. The old man then intervened in the conversation and suggested that they should now kill Magux. Upon hearing this, the girl and another young boy were worried. In the forest, Magux was trying to use the sword that Fiona had given him. The sword created fire. Magux thought that he wasn't even a magical creature, but using the sword made him feel different. He then noticed that Loa was staring at him with jealous expressions. Magux asked her why she was worried. Loa replied that, like Fiona, she also wanted to give him something important. Magux reassured her by saying that she was already doing a lot for him. She was the first to save him and has a special place in his heart. Loa told him that she wants him to be safe by entrusting him with a portion of her power. Dragons and phoenixes have the same tradition in this case, because Fia also added a part of her power to the sword. She explained that this tradition originated from the legend of the first caller. According to a story that has been passed down in her family, a long time ago, a being called the demon god appeared and tried to dominate the world through fear. Then, a man who was connected with many divine beasts defeated him by uniting the powers of these beasts. But he died in exchange for the demon's defeat. Loa drew her sword and handed it to Magux, saying that she wants him to use his powers only to protect himself. Magux was touched by Loa's actions and told her that she should allow him to use his powers to protect her as well. Loa and Magux were both happy, observing the affection they have for each other. Magux was now motivated to do everything he could for these divine beasts. He went out to hunt rabbits for dinner. During the hunt, he thought that these beasts are the reason why he is alive today. He wasn't even sad to have left the city. He wanted to repay them. So, he decided to take charge of the food, household chores, and lifting heavy objects. Soon, a group of fighters appeared in front of him, declaring that they had found him. Magux was shocked to see how they had come so deep into the mountains. They began to beat Magux. Then, the old man from the Vigilance Corps office asked them to stop. He told Magux how dangerous he is for the city. He had brought the dragon here with his hour skill. Now, the only sure thing to do is to kill him to protect the city. The old man ordered the groups of fighters to kill Magux. When they began to attack him, Magux fought back. He was furious that the people of his village hadn't let him live in peace. First, they had driven him out of the village, and now they wanted to kill him. The old man said that he shouldn't act selfishly by putting the people of the city in danger. They had taken care of him and helped him grow. Magux thought that now it wasn't possible for him to escape the situation, because the old man was so strong that he could reduce several kobolds to ashes in no time. However, Magux defended himself with all his might. He asked them to back off, otherwise he would destroy their city. He also tried to clarify that dragons are not as dangerous as other monsters. They can speak and understand human language, and they don't necessarily destroy their territory. Soon, an arrow from the woods wounded Magux. It was his friends from the Vigilance Corps. Magux was injured in the shoulder by the arrow. He then saw the feathers attack the fighters. He knew it was Fiona. He suddenly realized that he had Fiona's sword and could borrow her strength. The old man threw a fireball at him, but Magux managed to stop this attack with Fiona's sword. He then realized that with a simple sword, he could destroy their magic. The old man then attacked him with large water balls. Magux thought that Fia's sword might be a bad choice for this, so he suddenly pulled out Loa's sword and blocked the attack. The old man was shocked, wondering what was happening. Magux wasn't even a wizard or a mage, let alone a sage. How did he acquire such extraordinary powers? Magux replied that it was the power of theirs, which the old man and his disciples had rejected. He received this power from all those who lent him their strength. The old man replied that he was right and that Magux was now a danger to all. He began to attack Magux again. Magux realized that even if he borrows the power of all, it's difficult to be struck by this magic again and again. and he can only use his magical skills with the help of magical weapons. The old man said that he wouldn't allow Magux to live like this and tried to attack him with a celestial detonation. Magux realized that he had already seen this magic once before, when a huge horde of demons attacked the city. The magic had annihilated the entire city in one blow. Magux thought that he must now flee to save his life. Suddenly, a phoenix appeared behind the woods and warned the old man not to attack his master. The old man couldn't believe his eyes, wondering how it was possible for a phoenix to speak like a human. Fiona then looked at her master and told him that she had come running after sensing that Magux was in danger. She then questioned Magux about the old man and the others. Magux told her that they are the leaders of his city. The old man then asked Magux how many more problems he wanted to cause. Fiona is disappointed, as they are even worse than what she had heard of them and wants to punish them herself. But someone angrier appeared in front of the old man. It was Loa in her dragon form. Loa had warned them not to touch her territory, but here they had raised their hand against her precious master. So she asked them what they were thinking. The old man and his men were too horrified to speak. Loa angrily asked them to respond. Magux understood that Loa was really angry. The old man apologized and told them that he had no idea that these divine beasts had allowed Magux to reach them. He just wanted to drive Magux away from the city, but Loa wanted to chase him to the beyond. Loa asked the old man if he knew why God had given humans the power of the Yuri. Have they ever thought about it? The old man replied that it was a skill that allowed them to attract demons. Fiona then told them that humans have existed for a long time, but they seem to have forgotten the importance of the plan, especially nowadays, when there is no more invasion of demons or disasters in human villages as it used to be. She explained that the plan is a person who communicates with divine beasts and protects the world of humans. When humans can't handle things themselves, they can ask for the help of a divine beast. It is an important existence that connects people and divine beasts for the good of this world and humanity's. The legend says that the caller is only when a great disaster occurs. If you are a person without power, you would like to have this power now. Water then said that it is pathetic that he is not aware. Magcuti to the old man that his creatures are capable of reasoning. They will not attack the city, and if they do, it will be because of what the old man has done to them. He said that this time, it was his fault if he made them nervous, but he never wanted to cause more trouble. He wasn't going to do anything to the city and never wanted to go back there again. He simply asked them to let him stay here in peace. In addition, these divine beasts are the only ones making this city safer. Furthermore, the only thing that will make this village safer are these supernatural monsters. For his hometown, it is the final thing he can do. He thus urged them to return to the city rather than running wild in the mountains. It was better that they lived in safety and tranquility together. The elderly guy informed him that he was no longer able to reject him. He said they misinterpreted them and intended to wipe them out because of his interaction with the dragon. Him out. After apologizing, the elderly guy bid Mag farewell and wished them never meet once again. Loha and Fia were astounded by their master's generosity. Fia informed him that she would have given them a couple blasts if she had been in his position. Mag promised them he wouldn't be treated by the elderly guy. More than anything, he was certain that the chief was sick and weary of handling Loha and Fia. Now, Fia and Loha were both content. While returning home, they were all curious about Mera's whereabouts. Magu became concerned since he did not want to do Mera any harm. Mera met them with a few odd males when they got home. Mera was reassured that Mag is doing well. Those males stormed inside the home and began shouting at Loha. She said Mag. Then, Mera made the decision to handle things on her own and requested Loha and Fia to watch out for their master. Magu was appreciative of the three of them. While Mag pledged to make them leave the mountain, Loha made the decision to remove those soldiers. A satisfying supper. Loha, Mera, and Fia retired for the night after supper. Mag thought that he didn't want to risk anything for any of them, but now he wants to lead a calm existence. A black cat suddenly walked by him. The chief and his troops stormed the mountain 1 week ago. Magu was living a trouble-free, tranquil existence with the holy creatures. They were able to cultivate a lot of crops with Loha's assistance, and Mag was responsible for watering them. He had been reliant on the divine, thus he desired to do these types of tasks himself. Animals in about every aspect. Mag made the decision to take a hot spring bath after watering the plants. While taking a bath, he felt at ease and reflected about how his abilities had helped him through many encounters. It never occurred to him that he would be able to live so lavishly throughout the day. When Fia and Mera came and expressed their want to take a nap, he was prepared to go to sleep there. An additional hot spring bath. Confusion setting in, Magu attempted to halt them by clarifying that the hot springs were distinct. for both men and women in accordance with human laws. Mira told Magu that she intended to teach Fia how to handle water. Fia said that she had been observing Mira's training and had attempted to replicate it, but had almost drowned and Mira had to rescue her. Magu let them to bathe in the hot spring, but they refrained from undressing it. They both accepted this need. Fia said she used to believe bathing in a hot spring was equivalent. Mira laughed at the idea, seeing it as boiling in a hot kettle. The dragon abruptly materialized and informed Magu that she had finished her hunts while they were conversing. Her victim, Mag, thanked Loha for everything and complimented her on her effective area monitoring. Magu was mortified as Loha dove into the water to take a hot spring bath. They were having a chat when a meowing sound interrupted. They were shocked to see a black kitten that was hurt cowering in the grass. Loha thought the cat was too adorable and wanted to pet it when Magu took it up and gave it a pat. Have fun with it. Magu questioned if the cat was a monster, but Loha clarified that it couldn't. The cat was too little to ascertain that at this time. Only as they mature do monsters show themselves. The kitty was too adorable to be a monster as she began to play with them. Given that this was Loha's area, Fia questioned how the cat had gotten there. If the cat wasn't dangerous, Magu advised that they assist her. He said that although he was a monster, it would be unfortunate since he was still a kid to abandon him to perish there. Magu begged the three of them to come back so he could make her something to eat. House, the kitty accepted soup from Magu and began to sip it. He was concerned if the soup would turn out good after informing Fia that there was no milk. Fia retorted that since monsters are hardy, they often consume whatever is available. Fia really aided the kitten's healing and strength building. But they were curious as to how the little cat got into Loha's domain since it would be almost suicide for a monster youngster to so blatantly invade a dragon's domain. Fia refuted Magu's theory that yet another heavenly beast had materialized. They would have noticed it by now if it were true. Loha hypothesized that the kitten may have originated from an invisible source, such as a cave. So after lunch they made plans to explore the mountain. They all began exploring the mountain once they had finished their meal. When they all heard Loha's voice, they immediately rushed to her. They were shown a cave by Loha, who explained that it was a cobbled nest. She clarified that it is a dark, serene, and chilly area, much like the one she was born in. Strangers entering the building should go cautiously and carefully. She says the stony spots are ideal for construction. Magu pondered that this valley would make the ideal natural fortress since it offers plenty of hiding spots. It is also a nest. Loha explained to them the peculiar nature of this cave and the area's magical power. It seems to be isolated in that area alone. They detected an odd odor emanating from the cave as well. They made the decision to enter the cave. Abruptly, a sizable swarm of creatures, including trolls and kobolds, materialized before them. They were all so surprised that they thought this cave was a real dungeon. Some dungeons had a feature where all the creatures would come at once. Loha sensed an unsettling current of magical energy. Mag instructed them to combat the creatures head-on in order to deal with this as soon as possible. Fia voiced her worry, saying that the person who made this dungeon probably knows about them. Loha detested having a dungeon inside her domain as well. If they leave this cave like it is, Mira warned, it may grow enormous and consume the full expanse of this mountain. Furthermore, they would be unable to stop it if it occurred. After eliminating every creature, they entered the cave. The cave resembled a fairy tale maze. What they are looking for, according to Mira, is in the deepest area. The dungeon will end if they fight the boss monster there, and the teenager monsters will eventually vanish. Because it is a vital need, Loha requested Mag to kill the bosses as soon as he discovers him. Supreme in this world, Loha was hiding behind Magu as she was saying all of this. She chuckled and questioned Loha about her fear despite being a dragon. Although Loha is not terrified, she does not do well in these sorts of gloomy environments, she informed him. Mag made an effort to soothe her. He said that everyone in this room have more than enough power to handle any situation. He also reaffirmed to her his pledge to utilize his power for the protection of others. Mag acknowledged that the sword and dagger did indeed contain both of their abilities when Mira questioned. As they spoke, Magu saw that several demons had gathered behind Mira, and they were ready to make her their own. However, Mira destroyed every creature by using her water bracelet to produce jets of water. Magnu was astounded and gave Mira admiration. Mira informed him that it was the outcome of their regular training and expressed her belief that there would. They will often encounter unexpected monster attacks similar to this one. She requested that Magu accept her power gift, the water bracelet. She clarified that he could use this bracelet to harness her power if he used it wisely. Will be capable of stopping unexpected assaults. Magu was quite appreciative that he was constantly taken care of. Mira said that it is insignificant and that she is still a visitor at his home. They then chose to go even further inside. All along the trip, they were assailed by groups of monsters, but the three heavenly animals were very powerful, so they managed to carry on with little difficulty. Magu discovered that a gang of monsters would attack them if they took the incorrect path. They seemed to be following the creature's instructions. They are almost to the midway mark, Loha informed him. The midway point, according to Loha, is a large chamber in the dungeon's center, and the keeper, a formidable creature, will be watching over it. It seems like the major monster here, Mira thought, and it wants to bring them inside. Servings as soon as you can by gauging their potency. Magu said that it would be beneficial if it is accurate that they are being directed. Fortunately, they will find this to be simpler and faster. Fia made fun of him by joking that Magu was becoming used to everything. When they arrived at the midway point, a large door that was secured with a chain was closed. A large chamber seemed to be in front of them. Magu advised them to exercise caution going forward. They could have trouble in this large dungeon. All three of the divine monsters responded to Magu's declaration that he wanted to help and defend them all. Said that he can do anything. Fia then used fireballs to smash down the door. All of them chose to relocate inside. Magu felt uneasy. He made an effort to relax. He was certain that he would be well with the three holy monsters. That chamber contained a monster, much to Magu's dismay. The lizard man was the only one who had murdered Magu's parents in the past. Magu was taken aback. He began to remember every detail of the day his parents passed away. The reason the lizard guy was still alive infuriated him. Magu was upset and depressed. What keeps the lizard man alive? All three of the celestial monsters saw that Magu's emotions were out of control, and he had a problem of some kind. The lizard guy was one of the creatures who assaulted Magu's homeland, he informed them. Long period in the past. Even though his parents were able to overcome it, they ultimately perished. The lizard guy was transformed into an undead by someone. He had to struggle, realizing that it didn't matter anymore. He was attacked by the lizard guy, but he was unable to repel him. He was so terrified that he was immobile. After Kelpie saved Magu, the phoenix and dragon engaged the lizard in combat. Man, Magu felt useless and like a burden to them, and he couldn't do anything about it. The phoenix and dragon were attacking, but the lizard man repelled their blows. Armed with his shield, Magu was afraid and wanted to go, wondering how they were going to handle him. Away. Meanwhile, Lua approached Magu, sensing his fear, and gave him an embrace. Phoenix and Kelpie were occupied with defending their boss. They were all pulled to Lua because of his, so he urged Magu not to quit up. Fervent want to survive. The lizard man's strikes were wearing out Phoenix and Kelpie. Lua began to weep and begged Magu to keep them safe since they all want a long life. Living with him. That's it. Magu thought to himself, I'm not the same as I was on those helpless days. I have trustworthy pals and the strength to fight now. Magu understood that their lives were interconnected and that it would not be beneficial if he were to pass away. At such a location, refusing to allow anybody die in front of him, he said that he wanted to live with all three of them. Of him. Now he had a reason to murder the lizard guy. They launched a coordinated assault, but the lizard man's barrier was peculiar. It warped in a variety of ways. Of magic, Magu devised a technique since he was aware that he could entice various animals using decoys. He could see the precise position of monsters and they could hear him from wherever he was. A monster concealed behind smoke. It was time to employ his ability in the real world. He anticipated that the ploy would work, and he was able to overcome the lizard guy. Fia and Lua chastised Magu for behaving rashly, even though they were thrilled for Magu. He was not harmed by the reptile guy. After apologizing, Magu received praise from Mira for his boldness. She also questioned if she would be able to use her bracelet to control this kind of assault. If the enemies were this formidable at the halfway mark, Magu pondered how tough the boss may be. While they were all engrossed in conversation, a fissure in the room's ceiling suddenly surfaced. A large hand sprang from the crevice and grabbed Magu. Then they discovered you after hearing a voice. The fissure vanished as the hand returned within it holding Magu. Because everything transpired so quickly, Lua, Fia, and Mira were unable to defend Magu in time. They were unable to express themselves. Magu came into his realm by the demon god's hand. In this country I slept for thousands of years. My whole power will return in just a little bit more, a little bit further. To ensure that I don't repeat the same error, I need to be ready. Once again, the world will be in my hands. He responded, I will first for that reason alone. Then he came to a halt. He expected to have captured a heavenly beast as he peered at his palm. But to his, surprisingly, a boy was present. Magu was startled and taken aback. He was unable to comprehend what was going on with him. What is a kid doing amid gods and creatures? God wondered. Who is this guy? obviously living. Magu pondered what this creature was. He questioned the demon god's identity and motivation for going for Mira. For those among us who do not even know my name, then, allow me to introduce myself as the demon god. A memento, I go by Desperado. When Magu discovered that the demon god, the one who had exchanged with the first caller, God revealed that he is in charge of this dungeon as one of the 7 demon rulers. Its foundations. How come, among the 7 demon lords, was that what he called himself? Not in a manner that indicates that there are 7 devils overall, Magu reasoned. The demon god informed Mag that while he had been anticipating heavenly monsters, the wait had become too dull. He intended to bring each of the holy monsters here individually as a prize for vanquishing the caretaker. He believed he would eat them all. However, it is fortunate that the youngster was roused if in fact such a child exists. He will at least add Mag to the ranks of the objectives wandering as a prize for making it thus far. This lair, with his sword drawn, Mag charged the demon god, declaring that he would not allow him to what he desires. With his sickle, the demon god stopped the onslaught and pondered how a little kid might successfully control the might of heavenly animals. You remind me of that one, he remarked, peering into Magu's eyes. How disagreeable. You ought to die. Mag was a bit reassured that he had been practicing using the abilities, but still anxious of celestial creatures in an attempt to combat him. But the toll it took on Mag's body was tremendous. The demon beast questioned Mag's use of the dragon and phoenix powers. Collectively, Mag pondered the meaning of divine beast tamer. He had used the sword and dagger in front of him, and that infuriated the demon beast. He ought to understand the meaning of using them. It was unwise of him to intervene. Mag attempted to use his sword to strike the demon god, but the demon god blocked the assault. With his sickle, the demon god then attempted to strike him, but Mag produced a water barrier in front of him with the water bracelet's assistance. The demon god found it startling that Mag was drawing strength from kelp as well. Mag then used a water jet to assault the demon, injuring him. The devil yelled fiercely that Magu would not win his forgiveness. How dare you hurt this desperado, declared the demon god. I was prepared to murder you at no cost. He used his large hand to assault Magu, but Magu used the knife to block the blow. Sword and bracelet. The demon god revealed to Magu that the very thick magical force that covered his body was really air. It has the ability to stop all forms of physical assaults. It may also be changed into a barrier that keeps out all magic. He became one of the 7 demon lords and used this offensive and defensive prowess to ruled over one of the world's most powerful regions. But one individual had the audacity to confront him and issue a challenge to combat. Despite being a human, he brought a great number of creatures. He was able to breach the demon god's barrier by combining the might of his monsters. The strength of many joined divine beasts constituted a menace, yet one divine beast wasn't dangerous. A portion of the demon god's siblings were annihilated by the combined might. The demon god suffered so severe injuries that he needed to slumber for millennia in order to live. However, he was determined not to repeat the same error. He was prepared to be crushed once again by a human. He used his large hand to strike Magu once more. Although Magu avoided injury, he was concerned about his declining strength. Not only was the fight never ending, but the demon god's blows were too strong. The demon god noticed Magu's deteriorating health. Magu realized he was nearing his breaking point, but he decided to battle through it. Return. The only way he could keep his loved ones safe would be to fight back. Magu had a feeling that something was wrong. He was becoming closer to the demon god every moment. The reason for this was that the demon god was growing in size. It was too late for him to stop what was about to happen. He informed Magu. The demon guy used many air daggers to assault Magu. Magu believed he would not live if even one of them struck him. It was all or nothing, and there was no room for indecision. Magu's dejection amused the demon guy. He wanted to savor this thrilling occasion. Even with the water screen that Magu had constructed, the amount of assaults and began to shatter. The devil saw the vitality brimming in Magu's eyes, those powerful eyes. He declared, "You seem intent on killing me since that life is glistening in your eyes. With those very same eyes, the guy I hated almost destroyed me once. You are not weak, divine beast tamer. Let me repeat that one more. You put up with my abuse and even succeeded in instilling dread in me. Even if you are my worst adversary, your body is still getting used to the 3 divine beasts' combined might. It's obvious that you've reached your breaking point, and you're out of time of triumphing." Magu said, "You're correct. I believe my time to employ these abilities is running out, but I will destroy you before it has the chance to occur." "Nonsense, you inferior species," yelled the demon, and wielded his sickle on Magu. To his amazement, Magu used the sword, bracelet, and dagger to halt the onslaught. The devil questioned why Magu did not collapse. He was still upright even though it was obvious that his body had already reached its limit. "It's easy," Magu said. "I can't pass away here, that's why. When I got the dummy, I believed I would die for the sake of the city, but I met everyone who greatly helped me. I've come to the realization that I still have a lot more power. Now that someone is waiting for me to come back and I'm not alone, I can't lose to you in the knowledge that they are the things I hold dear." According to Magu, this is the power that the divine beasts have over this planet. If he utilizes this body for this reason, it doesn't matter to him. He then requested the abilities of all three of the creature's weapons. The demon god launched a sickle assault at the same time. The strength caused Magu's swords to flinch, but he scooped them back up and charged the demon deity. The demon made an unsuccessful attempt to halt the onslaught. He questioned why these seemingly inconceivable events were taking place. "I understand this feeling of discomfort," the devil murmured. It roused this desperado. "It was different from what I always assumed. It had to do with the power of the divine beasts. I felt pulled to you," and Mag said, "No way," in response to my aptitude. The demon informed him that he was battling with his fierce spirit rather than his talent. To triumph despite hardship, even managing to withstand the demon god that drew him in. The demon said, "The bravest of souls lie in this strength, whether good or evil. A person is no longer considered to be a human after they have defeated a demon lord. You will undoubtedly be drawn into more conflicts by the influence you possess. Get ready for a tumultuous and frightening future." Mag vowed to fight for his life and defend those he cared about. Mag pierced the demon's body with his blade while he was saying that. It was over when the monster passed away. When Mag awoke, he was in his chamber. Upon entering the room, he saw Loa carrying a bowl of water. She rushed toward Mag, seeing that he was awake now. She gave Mag the dish and gave him a strong embrace. She broke down in tears and confided in him that she was terrified for his safety. Fia burst into the room as well, calling out, "Master." They were being a bit loud, Mag warned them. Fia informed him that they had no idea what would happen since he was coated in blood when they discovered him. For 3 days and nights, Mira remained by his side in an attempt to heal him. When Mag learned that he had been sleeping for 3 days, she was astonished. Mira informed him that she was relieved he had woken up at last. Mag expressed regret for causing them concern. They were all relieved that Mag was well now, however. Then, intrigued about what had transpired in the prison upon their arrival, Loa questioned him. They saw something moving away from Mag. Mag identified the people present. Lord Desperado the demon. Everybody let out a yell. The dungeon master was really a demon ruler, according to Loa. In addition, they would have been unaware of the existence of 7 demon lords. Fia then gave Mag a claim for his ability to beat the demon lord by turning the tables on him. Mag said that it was just at the 11th hour. Fia put her hand over his shoulder and gave him a playful teasing look, telling him that he was exactly what she anticipated. Why was Fia harming their lord? Loa yelled. Mira arrived and attempted to touch Mag's chest once again in an attempt to heal him. She was so near to him that shyness made Mag's cheeks flush. Envious, Loa informed Mag that Fia and Mira would be the reason for her departure. Mag soothed her. The supper was ready, Mira informed him, and she would take it to his room. Mag declined, claiming he would visit the dining room personally. Mira got to work arranging the dinner table. Mag was taken aback as he emerged from his chamber. It was because there was riches hidden in a room corner. Numerous gold coins, rubies, and diamonds were present. Fia informed him that because the wealth was buried far down in the dungeon, they had no choice but to find it. After that, Fia gave Mag a ring and asked him to try it on. Mag dressed his index finger in the ring. Mira soon arrived in the room, her expression troubled. She came in because she suddenly couldn't feel Mag. She informed Mag and Fia. Mag then understood that the ring might even block certain spells and talents in addition to erasing its owner's existence. He became joyful. Perhaps he could even make it down to the human hamlet, he informed them. Fia concurred, stating that it would be a waste if he did not utilize thus much gold, silver, and treasure. Therefore, he ought to visit the human settlement and go shopping. Mag also felt that living off the land had been a rather satisfying way of life. However, they had reached a stage where they were deficient in many aspects. However, Loa continued, pointing out that there was a problem. The ring's power was only good for around 5 days. Mag was depressed once again after hearing this news. Then Loa clarified that the ring's limit was the caller's enormous power. However, Loa made sure that once they arrived in the human hamlet, they could purchase for him. To be honest, Mag commented, having only 5 days is a little depressing. I had assumed that I would have to live in the mountains forever. To be honest, I should be grateful for this chance." He was eager to see the community of humans. They were all thrilled at the prospect of enjoying both shopping and travel. Since Mira was unable to fly, Phoenix volunteered to give her a ride, and Mag settled down on the dragon's back. They took off in the direction of the settlement. Mag was likewise being shielded from the wind by Loa. Mag attempted to use his blade to toy with the clouds. Loa informed him that he seemed to be a renowned dragon rider by lifting his sword in that manner. The majority of the dragon riders, she continued, were also callers. They all saw a massive animal footprint in the forest as they were flying. It caught them all off guard. It seemed as if a massive object had passed through there, according to Loa. Perhaps it was one of the 4 big celestial monsters, Mira mused. She said that the tail is on a massive creature that defies convention, dubbed a walking catastrophe, but because they weren't moving in that way, there was little prospect of seeing it. The cat abruptly stuck her head out of Mag's jacket. Mag said that he took the cat along because he was afraid of leaving her behind. They also advised the cat to refrain from taking any risks. The cat was really a demon that had been banished from the dungeon, Loa understood. She claims that after a dungeon is defeated and vanishes, the other monsters follow suit. However, Maya's bond with them prevented her from becoming extinct. They quickly became aware that they had reached someplace, but much to their astonishment, it was the royal capital, not the settlement. If Fia and Loa traveled down there in this manner, Mira warned them both that it would cause quite a stir in the city. Therefore they need to disembark a little bit later. Loa recalled having flown here in the distant past. They discovered how big and astounding the city was. Mag said that while he was aware of their astonishment, they need to move on. The city was too huge, so Loa urged them all to stay together. They went to a jewelry store first, where they traded several gold coins and rubies for cash. Following that, they went shopping. Fia and Mira sampled a variety of delectable dishes, including ice cream. However, Loa recently bought several books at the library. For Mag, it was a bit unexpected. Loa clarified that while the book was intriguing, it was a little challenging to read, and she desired a somewhat simpler book to read. She also wanted to learn some human alphabets as she would be living with Mag. Before it becomes dark, Mira advised that they locate a place to stay at an inn. They set off to find the inn, but a girl was watching them all from behind. Once they had finished all of their shopping, they made the decision to have a nice dinner at an inn. The hotel owner told them about a public restroom for women. In order to relieve their fatigue, they decided to travel there. Everyone in the room turned to see Loa request Mag to join them. Mag excused himself, embarrassed, and walked outside to sit by the fountain and sip his drink. Even though no one was in the area, he could still hear footsteps. He called out, curious whether anybody was there. Then a beautiful girl materialized in front of him, apologizing for frightening him and assuring him that she meant no harm. Mag soon discovered that she was a beast as well, but she became offended and asked that he refrain from equating her with those untamed creatures, identifying herself as the nine-tailed fox Cusino, who journeys through eternity. She clarified that the nine-tailed foxes were mythical creatures that, in accordance with an old tale, have been around for a very long time. Are you also a heavenly beast? Mag asked. You seem to be hiding it quite well. Don't you have the caller's skill? The girl realized that Mag was a powerful man since he was able to figure out who she really was, who had previously come into contact with and survived encounters with celestial animals. She went to find Mag because she said she needed to talk to him. Then Cusino had asked Mag to join her in sipping tea, and he had happily obliged. They went to her magnificent, roomy home. Cusino motioned for Mag to sit down while she finished making the tea. Mag observed that her house had a human feel about it. She gave an explanation of why she had decided to live in this city as an ordinary person. Cusino explained why she lived in the capital of the kingdom when Mag asked, stating that she had found it handy for a number of reasons when she had moved there a few decades before. Closer to immortality than a phoenix, she thought it would not be a terrible idea to take a few decades off. But because people make up the majority of the city's population, she had struggled to establish deep connections that allowed her to be really honest. Mag questioned why the tea was green when she filled his cup with it. Cusino described it as an oriental tea that retained the distinct flavor of her birthplace, and she placed repeated orders for it. She waited for them to speak, urging Mag to drink the tea before it cooled down. Mag started to enjoy his tea, but Cusino said she wanted to talk about anything other than herself since she thought it would become dull. Inquiring into Mag's personal history, she also wanted to know more about him. Mag continued to tell her his tale, explaining how learning the decoy technique had completely changed his life. Cusino sympathized with him, knowing the potential consequences of such an incident. Mag said that the strength and encouragement he got from everyone around him was the reason he was still alive. But Kusunoa saw something strong in his eyes. Fia, Loa, and Mira showed up out of the blue to defend their lord. Kusunoa gave them everyone tea, and as Fia and Mira savored theirs, Loa started berating Mag. She said that it had been hard to trace Magdu of the ring and voiced her concern that he had been abducted. Furthermore, Loa said it was foolish to follow any celestial beast mindlessly. After a heartfelt apology, Mag asked Loa to move on from the conversation, saying that now that they had located him, he was safe. Mira said that Kusunoa seemed kind and that her tea and pastries were excellent. Kusunoa voiced her satisfaction that the misunderstanding had been resolved, but she was unprepared for the 3 more heavenly monsters who were traveling with them. The humans' ability to live with them, she said, indicated that the real caller of this age had arrived, the same one who would defeat a demon king. Kusunoa said that she had heard similar tales from her master, who had interacted with the first caller, when Mag questioned her about if the first caller had also lived with heavenly creatures. When Loa asked whether Kusunoa's master was the well-known silver celestial dragon, she said no. Fia inquired as to whether Kusunoa was still in charge of the oriental divine beasts, and if it was proper for a student such as her to be sipping tea in a distant country. Kusunoa clarified that she had been forced to flee by her severe boss, therefore this holiday was long overdue. Then she took them all to a magic store that smelled bad. While Kusunoa looked for the store owner, Fia heard a fight going on inside. After a while, the strange merchant with the uncovered face emerged. Kusunoa told the store owner that she was interested in buying a grimoire. Since grimoires were meant to be used for magic practice, Mag questioned why he would need one. Kusunoa revealed that in spite of his lackluster magic skills, he was able to channel some of the enormous magical might of divine animals and has a natural knack for working with magic, inadvertently sending his heart's voice to connect with that of divine monsters and other beings. By using up the magic power found in the atmosphere, this ability was made possible. He would be able to utilize magic correctly with the aid of a genuine grimoire. Presenting a grimoire, the shopkeeper said that it was the last one in the establishment. They were expecting a hefty, huge book, but to their surprise, it was a small one. The book started to glow blue as Mag clutched it, signifying his connection to it. Kusunoa tried using magic to bring the grimoire to life.